Cincinnati Reds, ranked 15th, smack in the middle by me, 22nd by Fangraphs. They shocked some people last year going 82-80. Only 2 games, I'm pretty sure, out of a wild card spot. They want to make the playoffs this year. They really do. I think they made some additions that prove they're trying to make the playoffs. They really want to improve and make the playoffs. Their key additions, they brought in Tony Kemp to a minor league deal, but that's not really one of the key additions. They brought in Heimer Candelario to a 3-year deal. Nick Martinez, they also brought in Emilio Pagan, who's a solid reliever. They didn't really add anyone via trade or anything. They just kind of added some solid pieces. The biggest piece they lost was Harrison Bader, who struggled in his time. They also lost Joey Votto as well. A big leadership role that maybe could be nerve-wracking for people. We will see. We have Frankie Montas in the rotation for the Reds, Hunter Green, Graham Ashcraft, Nick Martinez, and Andrew Abbott. And then there's Nick Lodolo, who could be one of the 5 guys, as he had a stress reaction in his leg, but that was a long time ago. I don't know when he's going to be back. That's a big question, is when is Lodolo going to be back? I believe Frankie Montas, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be very good. Hunter Green needs to figure it out. He's got all the potential in the world, and I think this might be the year he finally puts it together. He'll be 25 in the middle of the year. He's very good. I just think with a little bit less pressure on him, Graham Ashcraft kind of struggled. I think he's probably the worst one of this group, and I think he's still solid. Like, as a 5 starter, a guy who throws really hard, I think the main problem with him is he throws really hard, but he doesn't really have much else. I think he's got like a sinker, cutter, and a slider. He doesn't really have anything to keep them off of what he has, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the main problem is I just think he has a cutter and a slider. Those go the same way. So he throws it 90% of the time. The cutter 53, the slider about 37. He just doesn't have. He has the sinker that he doesn't throw very often at 9.6% of the time. He just does not. He just every pitch is going the same direction. I think it's difficult for him to. He needs to figure out either a change up or start throwing the sinker a little more, or figure out a curveball. Like, he has to figure out something that goes a separate direction, in my opinion. Andrew Abbott, I think, can disappoint a little bit. He was really good a year ago, overperformed a lot of his expected numbers. I think he's still a solid pitcher. I just don't know how elite he's going to be. If Lodolo can come back, I think Graham Ashcraft maybe moves to the bullpen. He might be better suited there. Speaking of the bullpen, they got Alexis Diaz, who's very good. Emilio Pagan and Lucas Sims, a good top 3 in the bullpen. Brent Suter's going to be there. Buck Farmer. TJ Antone's been good in the past. So I really do kind of believe in this pitching staff. Kind of like I think there's a lot of potential. I think Nick Martinez is going to be surprising people. I think he's going to end up the ace at the end of the year. I think if this team makes the postseason, which I believe they will sneak in as the 6th wildcard team at 81-81, I believe Nick Martinez is going to get the start in Game 1 of that wildcard series. Let's talk about the lineup. At catcher, Tyler Stevenson just needs to stay healthy. That's really my opinion on him. Defensively, he's Offensively, he's shown signs of being good before. You got Luke Maile as the backup. I just think Tyler Stevenson needs to stay healthy. At first base, Joey Votto's been there for years. I think well over a decade. I think it's been 13, 14 years of Joey Votto being the first baseman. They got Christian Encarnacion Strand, who I believe is very good. I don't remember what his numbers were, but I'm pretty sure he was very good a year ago. In his short amount of time, his peripheral numbers look good. A 113 OPS plus, 13 homers, and just 63 games. He was very good a year ago, and now he's going to be getting an opportunity to play every day with getting days off, getting to DH, Heimer Candelario, playing a little bit of first base as well. At second base, projection is Matt McClain, as he was a shortstop last year. Ellie De La Cruz taking that role. McClain moves to second, as De La Cruz is an elite defender, in my opinion, at shortstop from what I've seen on Baseball Savant. McClain was very good last year. I think he's one of the better players on this team. I think he might decline. Last year, He had like an 809 OPS, something like that, like an 8 or 864, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. He was very good last year, outperformed some of his expected numbers in a really short time span. So I think that's where, he could see a decline. Yeah, 864 OPS a year ago. I think he could decline maybe to an 800 OPS. I still think he's very good. And then at third base, you got Heimer Candelario, who has been good in the past, is very solid. I think he was one of my surprise picks last year, got a 3-year deal. I think instead of like 800 OPS, he might be more like 760 to 780, a solid hitter nonetheless. I think surrounded by the rest of this offense, it could elevate him. A big signing for the Reds. At shortstop, Elly De La Cruz. And I was on the Elly De La Cruz hype train when he was in the minors. He was really good. I could see him disappointing some people. A 33.7% strikeout rate. He strikes out a lot. To live up to the hype, he's going to have to cut down on the strikeouts. I think he's going to be an all-star, one of the best shortstops in baseball this year. I think he's going to be the WAR leader for the Reds. I just think that he's got to cut down on the strikeouts, and he can potentially disappoint me and several other fans. I do want to briefly talk about Noelvi Marte getting suspended for PEDs. He had a spot locked up, and now 80 games in, if everyone's on fire, he doesn't have that spot locked up anymore. As Heimer Candelario and Christian Encarnacion Strand were kind of going to be playing first base, Marte was going to be the third baseman. Now it's not going to look that way. Left field projection is Spencer Steer. He looked really good a year ago. I expect him to continue that. In center field, TJ Friedl is going to decline. A similar thing to like Kwan, where, yeah, he's just not as elite as Kwan in the taking walks, not striking out. Low barrel rates, low hard hit rates, and had a 240 expected batting average with a 279 batting average. TJ Friedl is going to decline. I think he's a solid defender out there, but I think Friedl will decline a little bit. And in right field, I think Will Benson was really, really good in his short amount of time in the big leagues last year. And I think the main thing is annoying that the Guardians also traded him away. He had an 863 OPS, a 130 OPS plus, and a 391 BABIP. But man, he hits the ball really hard, and I think he's going to be able to improve on those strikeouts going into next year. And Jonathan India is projected to be a DH/second baseman when Matt McClain needs a day off, or when Matt McClain plays shortstop, Elly De La Cruz plays. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with Jonathan India. He's a solid hitter. It's that simple. I think they're looking to trade him because they have such a logjam. Once Noelvi Marte comes back from his suspension, if Noelvi Marte plays like you're expecting him to, Jonathan India could get dealt at the deadline. I have this team going 81-81, making the postseason. My over-under I set was a 79.5. Vegas says 82.5, and this is really difficult. I would bet the under on 82.5.